it's just time to finish this rhyme, for the wave to finally hit shore, for the mountain to finally come down to its knees. Maybe we've been waiting for salvation while looking under the wrong rocks. Is it time?
Testing, 1, 2, 3. Testing, 3, 3, 3. Okay, episode 4. Hey kid, what's up? Get that look on your face. I do. And I've got my chest is tight. What, having a stroke? Not quite. Heart attack? Yeah. Speaking of attacks, we'll leave that there. So before we go back into the game, again, a game, not real life, but hey, sometimes, So I don't know how to wow, what are you doing? Getting a seltzer. This seems serious. It is. Oh shit, what are you doing? I don't know. Here we go. All I could say, my friends, this might be the most consequential pod I ever do. And the most consequential of this series, the bloody IRANy of war. And I think I just realized what the IRANy of this all is, and it's more than ironic. It might be dangerous, and it might be the reason why I'm doing all this. It could be a warning that I'm sending out. A light has come through me. Take it for what it is, to shine onto the world, and maybe, just maybe, prevent something cataclysmic from occurring. Oh, kid, what's going on? You'll see. Okay. Here we go. So what if I told you that sometimes prophecies fulfill themselves in ways that I don't like where this is going. Neither do I, but sometimes you have to talk about it and unveil it, shed light on it in order to prevent it. I'm already stuttering. What if I told you that sometimes prophecies that everyone knows very well, and maybe they say it will never happen, whatever, they're prophecies for a reason. And sometimes they become fulfilled in ways you don't realize. And what if I told you that about 6, maybe even more than that, maybe it's 8 months ago, 9 months ago, who knows? I felt a overwhelming energy that really knocked me off my feet. And I was confused by it. And much like, we normally do, I put myself at X. How is this going to impact me? As we do. Remember, folks, always remember the cheat code. X plus Y equals Z. X equals identity, who we are, what we're here to do. Y, the purpose, when we extract that purpose and put it into action. And then Z is the totality of that experience. Kind of, if X is the state we're in now, Y is the catalyst for a state change, and Z is the final state after the change. And that state change is a bad one. There's a better way to say it. Well, you're struggling with this. I am. I'm not trying to make this dramatic. I'm just not trying. I'm trying to get this light through me and get out of its way, but it's tough. There's a lot of tabs on the screen. There are. Are we going to get right back to the game? Not quite. This is important. Before we get back to the game, and I promised, I guess, committed to, you're going to feel better after this when we're done. Are we? Hopefully, because you'll be fully informed of possibilities, and hopefully maybe this light will get to somewhere where someone will finally get it, whoever that person or people are, to prevent, the prophecy. I'll leave that there. Okay, let me clear my throat. Have mercy, babe. I hope you don't mind. Let me clear my throat. And mercy is important here. Let me just get to it. X plus Y equals Z. We tend to put ourselves at X, as we should. Our lives, our point of view is with us, each and every one of us. How does this impact me first? Kind of like the mama bird. She has to protect herself before she could even protect the eggs, because without the mama bird, there are no eggs. And if the eggs are there and the mama bird dies, the eggs are subject to the prey. They leave themselves unprotected, 424N. And the species cannot continue, right? Something like that. I know it's cryptic, but follow along, please. 434. And essentially, That's what we normally do, and you should. But eventually, when you realize that how things impact you and the world, eventually there's others. And sometimes our purpose is to protect others. We must put ourselves at their X if possible, because we can never put them at our X. In other words, we need to see it through their eyes and understand what the fuck is going on. How are we impacting it? Is life and the universe impacting them? So forth and so forth. X plus Y equals A. And then we find the catalyst, the reason why energies are moving a certain way, and then try to foresee or foretell what happens at Z if Y gets fully into play. In other words, I don't understand. You will. We decode what's going on now and how we got here. And we could foretell or forecast how we could get to a Z that when you Z it, it might shake you to your core. But again, once you know what I'm about to tell you and you Z it for yourself, you might go, holy shit. And that's how you feel better. 5:45 in, I'm going to stop quoting time. If you know the code, those things should fulfill what I'm trying to do here. And at the end of the day, I'll just say it. I felt something really bad, and I instantly put myself at X. Like, is this something coming to the United States? Is it something for me? And I remember saying to myself, I just feel it's something big, and it's not for me, it's for someone else. I remember saying that clearly. I realized, wait, this energy, that something bad is coming, something big, and it's not for me. It's for somebody else. Oh, I couldn't figure this out. Unfortunately, I think I figured it out. Well, how is it unfortunate if you figured it out? Because once I tell you, you'll never be able to, and it's figured out, you'll never be able to unsee it or unthink it. It's a matter of, okay, now what? What do we do? You'll understand what I mean. And hopefully, after I lay this out for you, again, I'm not a prophet. I'm not the light. I am but the prism, and the light is shining through me. Take that for what it is. Again, or don't. Thank you for listening. What I'm about to tell you could happen. I'm not saying it's going to happen. Disclaimer, disclaimer, disclaimer. Okay? We good? Oh, we're good. Okay, here goes. Again, this is a warning. Take it for what it is. And it's going to be on levels and in layers. I'm going to speak in, dare I say it, some parables. You're going to have to do some work here, folks. But I'm going to lay out some information, some building blocks. You could build your own temple of thought and put yourself in it. You'll understand what I mean in a second. Here we go. Okay, so on the screen you have, I asked Google, the GOGs. What is the concept called when things unfold according to a prophecy, but not how people envisioned it? And in its infinite wisdom, Google tells me a self-fulfilling prophecy. We good? There's an Oedipus effect, named after the classic Oedipus play, about killing his father and marrying his mother. It actually came in, he brought it into fruition, didn't realize it. A false definition of the situation evoking new behavior, which makes the originally false conception come true. In other words, there's no way that could happen, but somehow in either preventing it from happening or avoiding it, denying it, you betray your own good thoughts, or whatever's a better way of saying it, and it happens. In other words, this refers to the mistake of believing that the actions taken to avoid a prediction were not the cause of the fulfillment. The prophecy that he will be king leads him to commit murders that ultimately ensure his downfall. Something like that. Is there a prophecy that talks about someone coming to warn the people of imminent doom in order to save them? Yes, multiple prophecies in scripture's narratives describe figures, often prophets, or prisms, watchmen, appointed or anointed, I don't like that word, to warn people of impending doom, to offer a chance at salvation or repentance. Ezekiel act as the watchman, Jeremiah warning Judah, and various eschatological traditions regarding warnings. In other words, Ezekiel specifically detailed God appointing a watchman to warn the house of Israel of coming judgment, the sword of Damocles, not quite. If a watchman warns people and they repent, they are saved. If not, they perish. But the watchman is not accountable. Again, disclaimer, I am not the light. I am just shining it. So take it for what it is. I'm not a preacher of righteousness. I just felt something. I decoded it. I need to share it. Simple as that. We good? End time warnings. Various religions, traditions mention signs of and figures acting as warnings before the apocalypse or final judgment to allow people to turn away from destruction. Take that for what it is. The prophecy of the apocalypse. We've heard this a million times. There's been movies about it. And it's been beaten to death so many times that eventually, 10:10 in, okay, I'll stop quoting time. People ignore it. This again? Okay. Eventually, ... Believe it or don't. Again, this is but a message that's being sent to you, whoever you may be. Thank you for listening. The apocalyptic prophecy, a form of divine revelation you see on your screen, often seen in vision, symbols, and cosmic catastrophes, or in a crazy amount of energy that one feels 9 months before something happens. Terror is birthed, and they make sense of it, whoever they is, wink, wink. And, well, a supernatural end to the current corrupt world and establishment of a new divine kingdom. Again, destroy the temple just to rebuild it better. Something like that. Daniel and John in Revelation describe what they saw in symbolic, often bizarre imagery. A dualism, a sharp contrast between good and evil, light and dark, in the presence of evil, of the evil age versus the coming age of righteousness. This is a crazy world we're living in, is it not, folks? Can you imagine a bridge between the world we're in now and this age of Aquarius that's coming, that's going to enlighten us and take us to another level? Well, how can we, if we have establishments that are built now, literally and metaphorically speaking, these temples of society that we've built, well, how can we turn things around and bring a more just and righteous world, dare I say it, of peace and serenity? Are we going to leave it to one man to police the whole world, anointed by Jesus, to take the terror on? But in the process, is the one causing terror? I talked about it before. I'm going to leave it there. I'll leave that there. Even the Hopis say 3 worlds shake, as well as various end times predictions in Abrahamic religions. I leave that there. Do you see what's on screen? Yeah, it's the Last Supper. What did Jesus say to his disciples? Oh, in this moment, and by the way, this is Da Vinci's masterpiece. We talk about it in another pod series. We go into detail of what this could mean. You should watch it. I think it's pretty cool. Again, not saying, just saying. But this is the moment where Jesus supposedly says, one of you will betray me. Of course, we know how the story ends, right? And Da Vinci knows that, and he sets this up in the way. So you kind of, you know how this ends. I mean, he's clutching the fucking silver. You know how this ends. But I don't even have to argue. It's pretty well known. This so-called prophecy that is being made here at the table was just made. And they're all like, what, who, what? If this doesn't happen, as I circled Judas and the betrayal, this individual here doesn't become the King of Kings and rise up and give the world the symbol of righteousness in a good way and sacrifice that they need to understand, hey kids, there's something greater than what we're doing here that we could rise up to. I leave that there. But the thing is, when this happened, I argue that, and probably rightfully so, I don't think they knew what the cheat code was, but each one of these individuals, and we talk about it in the pod series that where I go deep into this whole, what this all meant and decoding Da Vinci. I'm not sure what we're going to call it yet. I say that they all put themselves at X. They're all asking, like even this person here, is it me, my Lord? It's like a bitch. If you have to ask if it's you, I mean, seriously. I mean, what do you think? That you're capable of doing something that you're not sure if you're capable of doing it? In other words, this is the ultimate Carly Simon moment, dare I say it. All of you are so vain. You think that this prophecy is about you, even though one of them knows for certain it is. I'll leave that there. But every one of them put themselves at X and thought about themselves. But again, that's the nature of man, right? But the prophecy was self-fulfilling. Even Jesus knew, and that's why he meditated. And that's why, he kind of saw it coming. And he's like, well, if this is what it's going to be, and this is what it takes to create a whole new world or an example for the world and so forth, then, to create a religion that eventually will cause, so much death and destruction and wars. That wasn't the intent, people. I think you missed the point. But without the betrayal, you don't have the being or rising up, the resurrection. I leave that there. What can go wrong? Tell him, Murphy. Anything can go wrong and will go wrong. It depends what your definition of wrong is. What the hell is that? I'll get to this in a second. Real quick, the Masons. Oh boy, the Masons control the world. Not quite. Maybe they're trying to save the world. Wink, wink. And don't ask me how I know about this. Aren't we a Mason? We are, or I am. And no, I do not control the world. But Masonry has taught me, how to circumscribe my passions and square my actions, or something like that. In other words, how to be just and compose myself in a society and kind of build a pillar, use the pillars of morality and strength and compassion and love to kind of create a temple of sorts, right? Not quite King Solomon's temple, but a metaphorical temple of my life, and build a society around me with others for peace and serenity and love to live within. Create a space for that to arrive. Something. It's all allegory. Welcome to the Masons. In the second degree, because there's 3 degrees. By the way, when someone says, give them the 3rd degree, it comes from the Masonic tradition of the rituals, which is the initiation process for any new brother. And it's all allegorical. It's kind of like, Google's your friend. The Masons are not a secret society. It's just like a society with secrets that are all available online. I mean, I just looked it up. I proved it. Right? And it's just allegorical. It's a way to say it in another way so people get it. Kind of speaking in parables. And if you get it, you get it. And in the 3rd degree, if you know anything about the story of Hiram Abiff and what happens in it, giving someone the 3rd degree, when a brother goes through the 3rd degree, this allegorical kind of play to teach them a lesson literally, they kind of get literally roughed up a little bit. Not too bad. There's some ruffians involved. And I was, blindfolded, literally blinded, wink, wink, so I could see the light in a different way to get a point across. And we kind of rough up the brother a little bit in a good way. It's not hazing, but it's, so giving someone the 3rd degree is it's from masonry. Look it up. In the 2nd degree, which tends to confuse a lot of brothers, including myself, you sit there literally. I mean, it's a long ass night. It's the longest degree of all of them. It goes late into the night. And usually have one individual who has to memorize the whole fucking thing. And they lay it out in painstaking detail. And you talk about columns and all these fucking what they mean and Dorian and all this stuff. And a lot of people are like, I don't even get this. Middle chambers, all this shit. It's arguably the most important part of the lecture. It's how you build the temple, metaphorically speaking, of life with morals and ethics and love and compassion, all that stuff. Most brothers miss the point. At the end of the day, these pillars represent the entrance to the temple. Boaz means strength, while Jachin means to establish, meaning to establish, to line up all the forces in your life for stability, change, strength, beauty, the whole thing. In other words, it's one thing to be just inside in your mind and your heart and soul, but you've got to go and interact with others. Some people that might not be on the same path that you are. How do you build a structure in society that allows them to be themselves, but also learn some of the lessons that you learned, and we could all work together in peace and serenity and kind of hold up the temple of society in a way that it doesn't come crashing down? Again, I've said it about as and I'll get rid of this. I said it about as poetic as I can. It's a very powerful, powerful lesson that most people miss. And I did as well. Oh, what's this? Oh, have you ever heard of Samson? Yeah, the hair guy. Yeah, the hair guy. And then Delilah, the woman, the hair woman. Something about, she kind of betrays him. It's a whole story. Go look it up. And he's betrayed. He's, where is it? He's betrayed. Not quite like Jesus, but I think you get it. And he's blinded. Very key example, like the Masons, blinded by the Philistines. A weakened Samson was brought to the temple of Dagon in Gaza, very important, to entertain a mocking crowd. As his hair and strength began to return, he prayed for vengeance. Not good, kid. Place his hands on the two central pillars. Now do you see it? Oh, I see it. And collapse the structure, killing 3,000 Philistines along with himself. Basically saying, you betrayed me, and now I instead of holding this entire structure up and doing what I know to be true and just, I fail. And I collapse and destroy this temple. I kill everyone. If I'm going to go out, you're all going to go out. That's not the way we do it, folks. Because the third degree in Masonry, Hiram Abiff, I'm stuttering, when challenged by three ruffians, had a choice. I cover my own ass and protect myself, or I protect the order. I serve, I'm a servant. Every moment of my life is a service to God and to the people. And if I think about myself in this situation and not, someone else, destruction, right? Y'all get it now? Again, I'm not going to lay it out for you, but I'm kind of going to lay it out for you. You need to go there yourself. Put a Z there. I could argue, or maybe I don't have to, that Samson failed. And in his strength and power, fulfilled the prophecy, the destruction of the Philistines and the temple. Down it came because he didn't know better. He didn't know better. Okay. Now we got it. Okay. This is cryptic. It is 21 minutes in. This is cryptic. I wondered, and I felt like there's something bad happening in the world. And I'm like, I couldn't figure it out. And I thought, well, the United States, what are we going to get into? What's going on in Iran? Well, there's a war and we have a partner in crime. Again, not saying, just saying. I'm not accusing them of anything evil. Sometimes evil manifests in ways that the people think they're doing a righteous thing, protecting themselves. And they fulfill a self-fulfilling prophecy. And they don't even realize it. They don't even realize it. Somehow we get to that penultimate moment in the story and it's like, how did we get here? How did we not see it coming? Because you were blinded by it. And that's what the Masons teach, right? Murphy's Law, right? You know things could go wrong. Where is it? Shit. Oh, I X'd it out. And you need to train yourself that even if you can't see it literally, can you see it? The letter C, the light, when you're most blinded by everything else, can you see through the noise and the din to get to the truth? 22 in. Go there, folks. Come with me to the truth. I'm going to bring you to a bridge before it collapses. Or before you see it, you have to believe in it to walk across it. Right, Indy? Get there. You must get there. I can't do it for you. What did Terminator say? Come with me if you want to live, or see with me if you want to live. I'm done with you, kid. Thanks. Before we get into this, or even this, I need to talk about this. I need to set this up. This is powerful, but it might scare you. I know this sounds cryptic. You might have to watch this again if you care to understand what I'm trying to say. Again, I'm just interpreting the light. Here we go. Conversation that I had with Gemini. Hey, kid, quick question. I was thinking of worst case scenarios in the Iran war, the irony of war. Remember, the irony. Where is it? Right? Ironic paradox, the irony. I'm telling you, folks. Now I get it. Hopefully you will too. The Iran war we are entangled in. Seeing that it's highly unlikely that Iran has any nuclear capabilities to ever hit the U.S. shores with any nukes. In other words, we're safe literally here, but someone else might be in danger. At least not in the foreseeable future. Would the worst case scenario be that an event somehow triggers Israel using their nukes on Iran to put a decisive end to the conflict? Not saying through evil means, maybe through self-protective means. Covering themselves, thinking about themselves. Hey, can you blame them? I just told you. That's the nature of man. And if that's your what you were elected to do, to protect your people, to protect my holy land, then maybe even the greatest intentions can manifest, the worst ones. How ironic, right? Is there any event in the U.S. that would necessitate doing the same by us. In other words, that we would use nukes. I do remember POTUS Trump saying something very cryptic about leaving instructions for his generals to completely obliterate Iran should they ever assassinate him. Again, I'm not accusing, I'm not forecasting, I'm just saying that I'm just having a hypothetical conversation. Take it for what it is. It was on my television, I heard it or saw it. He recently claimed that the Iranian leadership had tried to take him out and that he took them out first. So this is not a conspiracy theory. This is real life, folks. Take it for what it is. So what are the answers to the questions? What say you? And it goes, okay, worst case scenario, hypothetical. Okay. Operation Epic Fury. Terrible name. Terrible. So horrible. Iran's nuclear and strike capabilities. You're correct. The experts generally agree. Iran currently lacks the capability to strike the U.S. mainland with nuclear weapons. There's like 10,000 kilometers, which is like thousands of miles away. It doesn't mean they can't attack bases and other allies and things like that, right? And our allies should be quaking in their boots for what's going on because they're closer to it than we are here in America. And that's a problem. But hey, we're trying our best to, well, I don't know, bring the tensions down, or are we? Hey, Pete, are we? Or are we cosplaying, cosplaying military general here? Iran's current arsenal can reach the U.S. forces in the Mideast and in allies in Europe, but not the continental United States. Again, just saying. Worst case scenarios for nuclear escalation. Military and geopolitical analysts have identified several triggers that could lead to use of those weapons in conflict. The Samson option. Now you get it. Oh, I get it. Now you get it. I didn't realize what it was until I looked it up. I'm like, oh, shit. In other words, if we're going to go out, you're all going to go out. Well, if someone gets blinded to what's actually going on and thinks they're doing right by their people, ... It serves as a last resort deterrence strategy, or just blow the whole bitch up. Scenario is not real might consider nuclear use if it believes that its national survival is at stake. Specifically, if Iran acquired its own WMDs. The whole crux of this the irony of this war, you're about to see it. I hope you see it, or do you see it? Began a countdown to launch, and conventional strikes were deemed insufficient to stop them. Impact. Using such weapons would likely lead to a total regional destabilization. The potential for a cascade effect, a domino effect. Well, where a prophecy could be self-fulfilled. Again, not saying they're trying to do this, and not accusing, just saying this is a possibility, or even a plausibility. Not saying it's probable. Again, you put the Z there. Other nations like Saudi Arabia might seek their own nukes and so forth, and drawing in global powers like Russia, who are already drawn into this thing. I've proved it. U.S. nuclear use and retaliation triggers. The assassination directive. You're correct. On 24/25, he stated that Iran would be obliterated if it succeeded in assassinating him. He claims it's already tried. Nothing would be left. Total destruction. Again, I'm not claiming he's trying to do that. I think even he knows better. Does he? We'll see. Conventional versus nuclear. While the current, remember what I said before. What can go wrong? Where is it? Yeah. While the current Operation Epic, I can't even say it. The current operation is a massive conventional campaign. U.S. military doctrine suggests, and this I was like, what? That a catastrophic event, such as sinking of a U.S. aircraft carrier, that's all it would take, folks, or could take, could be viewed as the equivalent to a nuclear strike on our soil, because that acts as a mobile soil around the globe. An attack on a carrier is like attacking our homeland. Thousands of troops can die. And it would trigger a disproportional response, up to and including nuclear triad as a last resort. Folks, we're closer to that than ever before. I'm not saying we're getting there, but it's closer. Recent claims lead up to the 2026 strikes. Trump administration cited alleged Iranian murder for hire schemes targeting the president as a rationale for current military action. He came out and said it. I took them out before they took me out. Again, thinking about himself. Not equating, just saying. Non-nuclear worst case scenarios. I'm going to frick change this in a second, and you're going to be like, whoa. Many experts argue, whoever they are, the worst case scenario, or the worst case, might not be a single nuclear flash, but a prolonged regional collapse. There's fragmentation where it can splinter internally. It's a power vacuum. Again, you got to be careful with regime change. It could lead to tremendous instability. The devil you know, ... A prolonged blockade of the Strait of Hormuz, all that stuff. We talked about this shit. Protracted civil war. I mean, that's the most likely case. If you're on Kalshi, you're probably already betting on this shit. You should stop betting on this shit. Are you interested in a breakdown of Strait about? No, I'm not. So what you are saying is that any sinking of a naval carrier would allow the POTUS to nuke the Iranians? Is this some doctrine that was created after Pearl Harbor or something? And it's like, no, there's no formal kind of sinking of the carrier equals that, but it kind of opens it up for possibility. And here's the current nuclear doctrine that we know of. There could be internal stuff. Again, hypotheticals. And explicitly states the U.S. will use nuclear weapons to deter high consequence attacks of a strategic nature using non-nuclear means. I'm not saying it's this, but folks, it ain't this. Strategic assets. An aircraft carrier is often viewed as a sovereign U.S. territory, a floating territory, a strategic asset. Sinking one, it's like thousands of casualties. It's a big deal. A loss of 10% of U.S. naval strike power. I didn't realize that. Holy shit. That's big. Extreme circumstances. Listen up. The NPR limits nuclear use to extreme circumstances to defend vital interests in the United States. We saw what's the only country to drop two bombs? Nuclear bombs. Duh. And by the way, it wouldn't be dropping bombs. It would be missiles. Probably nuclear or nuclear subs shooting them. Who knows? A president could argue that the loss of a carrier fits this description, especially if they believe conventional forces alone cannot prevent further catastrophic losses. If you ever want to know the true test of a president's fortitude, there it is. Because no one could stop the president from ordering it. Well, we'll talk about it here. You'll understand what I mean. Historical roots and evolution. The idea of using nuclear weapons for conventional losses didn't start with Pearl Harbor, but it evolved during the Cold War. The massive retaliation in the 1950s, Eisenhower had a U.S. doctrine that was to respond to any major aggression, even conventional, with a massive nuclear strike. Way back then, there was a time, folks. They thought that using nuclear weapons can win a war. We now know that it's like MAD, M-A-D. It's mass destruction. I mean, it's just the domino effect where now we know that once you start using weapons, it just triggers and it just boom, boom, boom. The temple collapses. It all comes tumbling down. One man could bring it all. Again, now y'all getting it? You will. Flexible response, 1960s. This shifted towards having multiple options, conventional, tactical, nuclear, then strategic, before reaching a total war scenario. In other words, we reserve that option, but we don't take it lightly. And there's other steps to get there, right? Just like in the middle chamber, my Masons. Before you get into the inner chamber, there's steps literally to get there. And you should know what those steps are and understand the cascade of events should you take those steps. Choose wisely. Calculated ambiguity, present. Since 1990s, the U.S. has used a calculated ambiguity purposefully, refusing to say exactly. In other words, if you know exactly what it'll take for me to go grab the metaphorical gun from my car and come back in the bar and shoot it up, then you're going to likely needle me to challenge me. So we're going to keep it ambiguous. But folks, we kind of know, right? You kind of know. And there's a little partner in the Mideast where they won't admit that they have a gun in the car, but everyone knows. They've heard rumors. They have an idea. And we kind of help them with that in a way. Wink, wink. Again, not saying, just saying. Presidential authority and law. Under U.S. law, the president has sole authority. We know this already, to order a nuclear strike. People have used this against presidents in the past. Oh, if XYZ president has the nuclear codes, it's apocalypse. Oh my God. The prophecy of the apocalypse. Oh, it must be this guy or that guy. Okay. All right. No congressional veto. He doesn't need war. If he again, he's driving the car, metaphorically speaking. If there's something ahead that can cause imminent danger to the people in the car, imagine that car, like one of those cars from a movie, has missiles that can shoot what's ahead of us so we don't get into a cataclysmic event. And they're not going to stop, slow down and turn around and ask everybody, should I do it? No, they're going to fucking do it. That's what they've been trained to do, I guess. Or elected to do. this is where it gets scary, the chain of command, while the Secretary of Defense or the Secretary of War must verify the order's authenticity. They cannot legally veto it unless they believe the order is illegal under laws of armed conflict. I'll get into that. You talk about ambiguity. It's not as clearly as defined as you think. And if you've got, I don't know, crazy cosplay, fucking wannabe, kid, tough guy, that might scare you more than anything, but I'll leave that there. Because if it targets civilians with no military purpose, in other words, a tremendous amount of civilians will die. You're like, well, that happened in Japan twice. Again, I'll leave that there. I'm not going to rewrite history. It stopped the war, so I guess mission accomplished, but a lot of people died. So I leave that there. I'll leave that ambiguous. Potential pushback. In practice, top generals would likely demand a clear military objective before executing a strike, potentially slowing down a snap decision. Well, let me ask you folks. By the way, AI would probably be involved in that. That should scare you, but whatever. By the way, why are we bombing Iran? Is there a clear objective? Is it just regime change? Have they called it a war? I'm confused. You should be too. Not saying, just saying. Summary of the carrier scenario. If a carrier were sunk today, conventional first, the U.S. would likely first launch a massive conventional campaign, like Operation fucking stupid name. Nuclear escalation. If the U.S. felt it was losing its conventional edge or faced an imminent threat to the homeland, that's not on the table. I just proved it. We wouldn't be. So there would be no need for us to use nuclear. Us, the U.S., this gets scarier. Remember this. Or shall I say, remember this. No, oops. Where is it? Remember this. The Samson story. The worst case you describe isn't an automatic rule, but rather decision. Always decisions. Big men make big decisions, right, women? Where's your input? I leave that there. Real quick, before I follow up with another question, please briefly define the top 5 examples of that. I'm like, what do you mean by major aggression? And this kind of was like, whoa, okay. So according to the 2022 Nuclear Posture Review, which I think has been updated since, but it might be classified. I think Biden updated it. I'm not sure. Chemical or biological warfare. If they use chemical weapons on us here in America, that could do it. This one scared me. Strategic cyber attacks. Like if they turn off whoever they is, put a blank space there. Iran, Russia, China. They turn off all the lights, which can kill millions of people, folks. It could be in the dead of winter. It could stop, the proper distribution of water through the pipes and stuff, clean water and stuff. I mean, this is a lot worse than we are admitting. A well-timed and executed cyber attack can kill many more people over time than any nuclear missile. I leave that there. So I guess this makes me feel better, but not really. Attacks on space assets. Okay, whatever. Satellite networks. Again, Elon's like, yeah, if they attack Starlink, they'll bomb those bitches. He wouldn't say that, but significant. I hope not. Conventional invasions, like they like another 9/11. Dare I say it? Threatens the survival of the U.S. A key treaty with an ally. I mean, fuck. Hey. Our life is threatened. I got a gun. I'm going to use it. Leave that there. Attacks on nuclear forces. Any conventional strike aimed at disabling nuclear systems, like what we're trying to do with Iran, ironically, the irony of war. We can fight back. Okay? This is calculated ambiguity. We all good? Oh, yeah, it does. Yeah, I'm cool. Yeah, very much so. It's like, does it change your view of the Iranian conflict? Yeah, very much so. The events that open up a nuclear retaliation are much more viable than I thought. What do y'all think? 38 in. What do y'all think? But much more probable. Yeah, I just happened to look in it. I saw it again, if you know the code. But much more probable than I imagined. Real quick, regarding this, the chain of command. In other words, the Secretary of Defense, not the Secretary of War, kid. Marketing should know better. And advertising, well, they do what you tell them to. We should be defending a defense posture, not a warrior aggression. Right, kids? Don't be blinded by your own light or your own darkness. Unless it believes the order is illegal under laws of armed conflict, right? It'll be carried out. Tehran, as well as a couple of, we already talked about it. I said, other major centers in Iran, it's stuck within a valley of mountains, right? It is a highly concentrated population center of like 9 to 10 million, I believe. People look this up. It's crazy. If there was one place on earth that would be a hotbed for destruction and death, like it would be this times 10 million. And a certain little guy in the Middle East knows that. That's the worst place to drop a nuclear arsenal. It would be mass destruction and death. It's just the way the mountains work, and it's in a valley, and just the fallout, the whole thing. I read somewhere that a place that would be the worst place to send a nuke. It would be there. Millions would die, if not 80 to 90% of the population. People, even if you drop in a megalopolis like the New York area, if you drop the strongest missile, nuclear missile or bomb, you're not going to kill 10 million people. You're going to kill a lot, but not 10 million. Somehow it's perfectly situated to Tehran in an area where you got them all trapped. They're all going to die. They're all going to burn. I don't say that to relish anything. It's terrible. It's barbaric. Dare I say it? It would be slaughter. Right, my friend? And you're not my enemy, so I'll call you my friend. You're not a stranger. I kind of know you too well. Wouldn't that be a consideration and validation of the Secretary of Defense? In other words, he would go, wait a minute. We would bomb that. You're like, we would never do that. Exactly. We wouldn't. I would like to think. But, ... Samson what? Well, unless he is a fake-ass cosplay sociopath kid with a tough guy complex, right? You're hitting on the exact tension that keeps military ethicists and lawyers up at night. You're right about the geography. Tehran is essentially a bowl surrounded by the Alborz Mountains. A nuclear blast there would be amplified by mountain reflection, trapping heat and pressure, likely creating a literal firestorm that could kill millions almost instantly. Whew. Gone. An apocalypse. And then who knows with the retaliation? I mean, it would be insane. The legal bar distinction and proportionality. In other words, let's go into this a little bit more. For a sec def to not just be deaf and blind, oh kid, and legally veto or refuse an order, they would have to argue that the strike violates the core pillars of the temple or international law. Remember, folks, someone's coming to save you. Just saying. Proportionality. Even if there is a military target, like a command bunker, does the military advantage outweigh the death of 9 million people in a city like Tehran? Who knows? Hopefully not. Or hopefully, well, that is almost impossible legal hurdle to clear for first strike. In other words, he better have some intel, or maybe AI will help him. Maybe AI will save us and not end us. That's a whole other pod. The military necessity loophole. The reason a sociopath, sorry kid, or even a by-the-book hawk might justify, not much of a difference, this should scare you, might justify it is by claiming military necessity. Sorry, Mr. President, you got to do it. No other option. Okay, where's the book? Where are the codes? Where's the football? Like Tommy Brady, I got to put this in the end zone. Sorry, kid, to bring you in on this. Love you. The GOAT. And if the Iranian leadership is under the bunker of Tehran, hey, fuck it. Peace out, kids. You should have known better. Because we don't know better, ... To de-escalate. Launch a biological nuclear weapon that can kill 20 million Americans? Well, then if 9 is less than 20, simple math. Is it proportional? Who knows? They'd claim they aren't targeting civilians, but the civilians are collateral damage. Hey, some people have to die, right? President Trump? Yeah, that's war. The irony of war, right? In a move to save the U.S. The human factor, the two-man rule, the sec def, hear me now, doesn't have, you won't believe where I am, okay, have a no button. They have a verify rule. Either they verify it or they don't. They can't veto it per se, but again, it's ambiguous. Unfortunately or fortunately, I'll leave that there, blank space. The president can technically fire them on the spot and move down the line. Hey, you don't want to do it? I'll find someone else that'll say yes and turn those keys. I think it's keys or something. However, in real life, refusing an order would likely trigger a constitutional crisis. Oh boy. Worse than we are even having now with wars that are, leave that there. The generals you mentioned earlier would be watching this play out, and many might follow the SecDef's lead if the order felt like a descent into madness rather than true strategy. Everyone's going to die. Okay. The geography of horror. You're 100% correct. The Tehran is a worst case target because of the topography, blah, blah, blah. Any sec def who isn't a cosplay sociopath, well done, Gemini, would know that nuking Tehran doesn't just end a war. It likely ends global morale standing of the U.S. In other words, they'll never look at us the same. You could have validated, I guess, the Japan thing, but this is completely different, kids. Or is it? It's the ultimate check and balance moment. Does the person in the room have the backbone to say this is an illegal order? What did those Democrats say again, Mr. President, that you try to jail them for? Again, not saying, just saying. Not accusing. This is hypothetical. Even when the president's giving one. You're like, but you're not proving the United States would ever do that. Again, not the United States. Kids, this gets crazy. Do we know if we have any say built into the nukes that a certain little guy claims they don't have? Wink, wink. In other words, the gun they have in the car that we all know that they have in the car, that, I don't know, we didn't give it to them somehow, but somehow they got it themselves. Who knows? Wink, wink. We turned a blind eye, I think is what Gemini says. You'll see. I say that we gave it to them, we sold it to them. I guess maybe we shared the technology. Who knows? It's irrelevant. Wink, wink, wink. To your knowledge, or better yet, by your calculation, is it possible or plausible? Again, not throwing probability out there. I'm not an AI, and I'm not going to put Z there. You Z it for yourself. That we would have set some boundaries or red lines that would not be crossed. In other words, yeah, we'll turn a blind eye because you know how we are. We're hawks about trying to know who's got guns in the bar, who we can trust and who we can't. And those that we can't, we're going to see if we could disarm them. Peace through strength or peace through force. Iran, what's the irony of the situation? If you had nuclear weapons, would we be doing what we're doing now? Again, that's what you're thinking. Fuck. If we only had a gun, not that we would use it, but they wouldn't be fucking with us. They wouldn't jump us. Again, that's what Pakistan thought with India, right? India, right, Modi? That's why your neighbor has them, because you do. See what happens? Everyone needs a gun. Arm everybody. Not saying, just saying. Or do these guys have free reign to use the WMBs that everyone knows they have, but no one is willing to admit? Just curious. It's the worst kept secret in global security. It's not real, but it's real. Maintains amimate opacity. Has never officially confirmed nuclear status. Do we have to? It is widely estimated to possess between 90 to 400 warheads. This is irrelevant, but not really. Including a nuclear triad of missiles, bombers, and submarines. Similar to us. Where did they get that idea? To your point about red lines and U.S. control, here's the breakdown of U.S. and you-know-who's nuclear dynamic. The off-the-books agreement. Oh, so there might be one. Okay. I'm all ears. The U.S. doesn't give or sell nukes to you-know-who. In 1969, Ford and Prime Minister Golda Meir reached a secret gentleman's agreement. Oh, a gentleman's agreement. A backdoor agreement in the bar. Hey, you do this, I do that, blah, blah, blah. Let's be friends. No guns. Oh, guns? Okay. Just don't aim it at us. And be careful who you aim it at. Let us know. And we'll help you out. The U.S. would stop inspecting their nuclear facility at Dimona and would stop pressuring them to sign the non-proliferation, the NPT. Somehow they got a pass. I wonder how. As long as they didn't test a weapon or officially announce it. But somehow it's got to work if they tested it somehow. Or did they not need to test it because, well, we gave them proven instructions on how it works. We already tested it, right? I leave that there. Let's just say, this is a bad, and don't do it. If we were the Apple company, right? company, and we had new technology and we were testing it out and now we're selling it to you or giving it to you, wink, wink. Or maybe we're turning a blind eye. We're going to leave it on the table so you can look at it. You don't need to test it out. You know it works. We showed you it worked. Wink, wink. Physical autonomy, free reign. Again, people, this is just hypotheticals. Either turn towards the light or turn towards another light. Should I put it on the screen? I mean, should I do it? You get the point? They built their own Jericho missiles. They did their own thing. A lot like ours. How did they get that idea? I wonder. We don't have a physical kill switch over that launch. If a prime minister decides to go Samson on their ass, they don't have to tell DC. Go figure. Go fucking figure. Why that one little guy has free reign? I'm just a simple question. I wonder. Diplomatic red lines. While we can't stop them physically, the U.S. has massive leverage, do we? To set boundaries. The unofficial red line has historically been, listen, don't let them know you've got the gun in the car. Unless someone threatens you and you have to use it, then by all means. Oh, you don't have it in the car? Wink, wink, you have it in your back pocket? Okay. You'll understand what that means in a second. We're going to pretend you don't have it. We're going to say to everyone you have it in the car. Wink, wink. You'll understand what that means in a second. The U.S. provides billions in conventional military aid. The Iron Dome, F-35s. Again, why? Okay. Specifically, so they don't feel like they need to use the nukes. Oh. So that, who's got the leverage? I'll wait. How am I doing, kid? You are building a case that is anti-hero? Samsonic. Okay, that's corny, is it? Samsonic? Sonic Boom? Oh boy. You are corny. One day I'll get you. It's too late, kid. The light's out there. Before your light's out there. Lights out, kid. How you doing there? Even if we don't have a button, we have eyes. Do we? Or are we blinded by the light? Secretary of War. Is it all coming together for y'all, folks? Or is this parable a little bit too tangled in the weeds? Hold that temple up of thought. Temple of the dog or of the God? Oh, the corny. Yeah. If I'm going hungry, I'm going hungry. Israel began mating warheads to missiles. In other words, if they started kind of putting the bullets in the gun, we would see it instantly. Would we? Who carries a gun that doesn't have bullets in it? Just saying. Not saying, just saying. And if it's not in the car, where is it? I'll leave that there. How do I know? A little birdie told me. In such a moment, the red line would be enforced by hotline call. Would it? Who's got the leverage, kids? Use the cheat code. It's not what you think. Even this is propaganda. I'm just, again, you don't think Google knows that some jackass could go and find this information? Okay. Hey, Gemini, make sure you give enough information, but don't tell him everything and report to us who's asking. Wink, wink. So we could track it and make sure he's not, he's not working for someone or trying to do something, Trust me. I know I'm putting my head out here. Is it plausible? Or my neck? Totally. Oh, here. Highly plausible. There's secret understandings about Iran. For instance, the U.S. might promise, we'll take out Iran's nuclear sites. Oh, for you, so you don't have to use the... Who's got leverage? Maybe, just maybe. Hey, Mr. Trump. I think I'm going to go Samson on these motherfuckers. You better help us take out the things, wink, wink, or else we're going to leverage our massive capabilities. You know how I am. I can sometimes get a little blinded or not deaf to the situation. Do you want to see the temple come crumbling, Mr. Trump? You better get up from your table at the bar and come join us. I won't touch the gun on my holster underneath my fucking jacket, suit jacket. Bring your bombers. This keeps their nukes in the basement or on their hip side while the U.S. does the dirty work conventionally. Even Gemini said dirty work. Conventionally or, the bottom line, in true end of day scenario for them, they have total free reign. Oh, really? Who's got the fucking leverage? Now do you know why we're in this war? What's the irony of this? Who's got the leverage if they're threatening to fucking destroy it all? Are we going to believe them? Do you think a preemptive strike would be seen as a betrayal or a necessary gift to fulfill the prophecy? What do you think, folks? What do you think? To your knowledge, is there any indication of this occurring, about to occur as of this convo? Have they been mating these warheads? I know the answer to this question. There's no mating. It's been birthed already. They already made it. Let's be real. Don't be stupid. If you're always in high alert and feel threatened, why the fuck wouldn't you have the gun loaded? I'm just saying, use your fucking imagination, your common sense, folks. Cheat code this bitch. No credible play. This is propaganda. Sorry, kids, it is. That they're not mating the war. Please. Would you need to bring the epic fury? If someone's not leveraging something where I'm going to use that gun. If it's not loaded, folks, what kind of leverage would you have? They'd be like, it's not even loaded. Why would you? Oh, now you getting it? This is propaganda. Don't fall for it. We wouldn't have been pulled into this war, ... if you believe that. If the gun's not loaded and not, well, they're spinning it around on the leadership is spinning it around. I'm just saying. Active conventional campaign. The U.S. and you-know-who are currently conducting thousands of strikes on Iran's ballistic missiles. Why? Ask yourself why. If we're not threatened on our shores. But you're like, our allies threatened. But why? Does that mean that Iran has the capabilities? Or do they have the pieces for the gun? And, I can't put a Z there. Intelligence eyes. The U.S. satellites, the information superiority over Iran and you-know-who is currently described as unprecedented. In other words, we're not blinded. But are they? One of you will betray me. Well, if we use that same cheat code, please, and this is the United States, what country, if this is our allies, is this? G-thoughtz? Jew-who? The leaders, not the people. Again, don't conflate the two, or else you're going to be blinded as well. Again, what caused the fall? I don't know. Boom. Well, nuclear mating has not been detected, blah, 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 bullshit. Historically, Israel's unofficial Samson option is only triggered if the state itself feels imminent destruction. Iranian retaliation. Again, they've launched over 585 ballistic missiles and 1,500 drones at you-know-who and Gulf states. This is just the beginning, folks. If these salvos were to successfully overwhelm the air defenses, the Golden Dome gets cracked. I mean, how many times am I going to this? And hit major population centers. Not hard because it's concentrated, one little area. With chemical or biological weapons, the posture would shift. If the U.S. or you-know-who runs out of interceptor missiles, what did I hear recently about that? And if China somehow attacked Taiwan, and oh my God, can you see a scenario where dominoes start falling here, folks? Uh-oh. They may feel forced to use the deterrent. The deterrent to slaughter the savages. Summary of the mating scenario. It's a logical tell. I'm arguing something that you should already put a Z there. If this, then that. Use your common sense. Is the gun loaded, people? The question is not if it's aimed. Is the finger on the trigger? That's the question. At this hour, both the White House CENTCOM indicate the war is being won through conventional dominance and blah, blah, blah. Yeah, they got some cosplay guy fucking after he's doing a bunch of pull-ups. Oh, kid. Really? You really hate on him? No, I really like the guy, but man, he's conflicted. He's got to turn to the light. Open a book from now and again and read a couple revelations. If you only knew the code, kid, wink, wink. If you only knew the code I was trying to give you. Not the nuclear ones. A worst case hypothetical, not an active procedure. Given the intensive air superiority, is that what he's telling us? The U.S. currently holds over Tehran. Do you want to see the no? By the way, why is it called the Samson option? We already talked about it, right? In modern military strategy, it's their last resort doctrine. If they face imminent total destruction or existential threat, and they know there's a particular place where 10 million people can die, like that, boom, it's all tumbling down. But in this case, they think that they're going to survive. Will they? Who knows? Hopefully we never find out. If we go down, everyone goes down. Wow, that sounds logical. Or like something else. Kid, this is powerful. It is. It's world altering. And I'm telling you, folks, it's a possibility. And maybe a plausibility. I'm not saying it's a probability. I even said, has he mentioned anything? Oh, no, he's never explicitly used it. Oh, yeah? But he's used existential threat rhetoric. In other words, I'm going to say it without saying it. Consistent framing as an existential threat to Israel, constantly. Defining conflict in terms of national survival, constantly. It's always the threat to us. Always putting ourselves in the center of it. Again, do you blame them? Then never again. Oh, because once we, we were blamed for something. Never again. How ironic. And now you're back in the fray, potentially, and you're back in the game under another condition. Another character. Wink, wink. Do y'all see this all coming together? 1 hour in exactly. Do you see it coming together? Unimaginable consequences. In the lead up to the current Operation fucking stupid name, Operation Dumb Marketing Campaign, he warned that if Iran crossed certain red lines, it would face unimaginable consequences. You ready? He had nuclear power slip. During a cabinet meeting, he accidentally referred to themselves as a nuclear power. Oops, we're armed. We're packing. Oh, I mean, we're not. Wink, wink. The wall of protection. Just days ago, he described Israel's indispensable partner that protects the region from Iranian Samson option. Oh, y'all see it yet? Not yet. Don't be blinded by the light. Don't be blinded like Samson. How's that hair doing, Hegseth? Your hawkish rhetoric. Suspension of Amichai Elihu. When a junior minister suggested that dropping a nuclear weapon on Gaza was one of the possibilities. I mean, even just Gaza? He was like, dude, what the fuck are you doing? You can't say that out loud. You can't give up the game. You're detached from reality. A reality that I create, not you. Who's got the leverage? The strategy. Analysts suggest, and I'll end here. We'll go back to the game after. I mean, this is strong enough, right? 101. Am I schooling you? Suggests that he views the threat of weapons as more powerful than the weapon itself. Talking about it openly. If I brag about my weaponry, my gun that you don't think I have, or you do think I have, but I won't admit it, wink, wink, will leave us alone. And we'll go back in a defensive posture, right? We won't try to punch everybody in the bar. Again, folks, I don't get it. He shifted toward a preventative tone. Oh, really? Is that what we're still doing, preventing? Or is it epically infuriating? Because they've got buried capabilities deep, deep underground. He claims we could eliminate the nuclear threat entirely. We could protect the temple. Or just blow it up. Fuck it. We're using the logic or the threat of the Samson option because our gun is always loaded. Oops, can't put a Z there. But it still justifies the aggressive conventional war. If we strike first, they can't strike us, even if they don't have a fucking gun. Go figure. But we do, but we won't admit it. It's okay for us to have it and threaten to use it constantly. And then they're sitting there going, how do we protect ourselves? They're always threatening us. What the fuck? We didn't slaughter their people, 7 million of their people. What do we have to do with this? Oh, we want them to die? Oh, shit, that's right. Well, both of you should fucking get to know each other a little bit better. Understand you're not too far from each other, literally and metaphorically speaking, on this earth and in time. You're a lot more in common than you think. You should get to know each other and get to peace with each other. Just saying. Netanyahu warned that if they cross certain red lines, what are those red lines? Real quick. Zero enrichment capability, removal of stockpiles, missile range. In other words, once they get armed, we will destroy them. I mean, that's essentially what he's saying here. These are the red lines. If you get a gun, even if you don't use it, I will use mine on you. The one that you are not supposed to know that I have, wink, wink. But I keep bragging about it. I mean, folks, the cheat code is ringing off the hook here. The new axis of terror. They think that now, we won't be the only ones armed in the Middle East bar. Oh, we better load our gun then. Wink, wink. Friends, what are we doing here? And what are we doing here? I mean, one of you will betray us. Or one of you will betray me. We know how this ended. With a kiss. It started with a kiss. It ended with, well, a T. How will this prophecy end? Well, if you listen to me, maybe, just maybe, kid, you'll come with me if you want to live. I'm telling you, folks, I'm not saying, just saying. The irony is ironic. Protect this house, protect this temple. Take this light and spread it. I'm going to end now. I don't know what else to add to that, kid. I'm fucking shook. We'll get back to the game in a second. I needed to infuse some reality in this. My friends, if you don't see things for what they are, you become blinded by them. And once you are blinded and you don't have other methods to understand the flow of the energies and to really know what's going on, you might act in a way that, well, ... If you learn nothing, learn one thing. Peace through light, not strength. Strength brings down temples. God bless you. See you later.
You have reached the end. Game over.